In today's video, I'm going to be brainstorming about my planner needs and wants when it comes to picking the perfect planners for 2026. But hold up, I'm not just going to pick any planner. I'm going to pick planners that I already have on my shelf, such as these, or maybe even these. Hey guys, I'm Tracy and I want to welcome you back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a good old-fashioned planner chat, and I'm going to be chatting about my planner wants and needs because, I think that is a very important before kind of embarking on your new planner lineup. Now, I am nowhere near being in a position to set my planner lineup for 2026, but I really want to kind of get the ball rolling and thinking about whether or not I already have something that I own that I could possibly use for 2026 that will keep me from adding any more planners to my stockpile. Because as you saw in the beginning, I have quite a few planners, and that was just the tip of the iceberg. I probably have about 15 unused planners in my craft room. Yes, I said that at a very low level because I didn't want to scream that out loud. But yes, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to first kind of chat about the planners that I need. What do I need planners for when it comes to 2026? I mean, of course, 2026 is like 4 months away, so things can change between now and then. I might need to remove planners, add planners, who knows? But at this present moment, there are certain planners that I definitely think I may need for the upcoming year. And that includes a catch-all planner, which is your main planning system. It's the one that, most people use. If they only have one planner, that's kind of what it is. I also want to have a fitness and health planner, as well as social media. I think these are the 3 main essential planners. I guess main and essential are kind of the same thing, but these are my essential planners. These are the planners that I kind of need to help me stay organized. These are the ones that I need to be in and visit multiple times a week, if not every day. But then there's some other planners that are also very useful and that I also want to consider for my lineup. And that would be an on the go, which is essentially a catch-all planner that just doesn't have as much information and is smaller in size. A budget system, maybe not necessarily a planner, but something to kind of track my finances. And then we're also going to put goals, because those of you that have been with me for a while know that one of the focuses of my channel has been on goal planning. This year, not so much. It's not been the best year, so I've put that on pause. But that is something that I definitely want to focus on again next year. So that is also something that I'm going to put in the second bundle, which we're going to call, I guess we'll call them wants. So this is like needs and wants, but they're pretty high up on the wants because there are a lot of other types of planners. If I sit there and like listed all of my potential wants, we will be here all day. So, but these are kind of the almost essentials. Maybe we can call these the almost essentials. With that said, there is another little grouping, but I'm only going to put one planner in here that I'm going to want to put into my lineup in 2026. It's not really an essential or an almost essential because it's not technically a planner, although I may use a planner for this, but it's going to be memory keeping. I don't really currently do this, at least the way that I'm thinking about doing this. So this is something new, but it's something I really need to keep in mind, especially as I start brainstorming these, because this is something that is going to be really important to me. And I want to do this in maybe a couple of different ways and maybe a couple of different like planners or journals, which means I don't want to be overwhelmed with my planners or I can't do this. So that's the reason I'm putting it there, because it's something I have to keep in mind. And I do recommend doing that when you start brainstorming planners, is thinking about other types of maybe a journaling system, memory keeping, whatever that you want to kind of do on a daily or weekly basis that you kind of need to think about, so you don't become overwhelmed, because, you know, that is a possibility. So with that said, I'm going to start with the main planner, the Mac Daddy, and that is the catch-all. So I'm going to kind of briefly talk about what I put in my catch-all. However, I'm thinking about adding even more things to my catch-all to kind of even help with this, like these memory keeping projects that I want to embark on. I feel like my catch-all planners could help with that, especially if, you know, I fall behind in memory keeping. Your planners can help you kind of remember things. So what I'm currently capturing in my catch-all planners is, of course, appointments, events, birthdays, to-dos, any type of due dates, basically time-sensitive information. So that's generally what I keep in my catch-all to some extent. It's kind of hit or miss sometimes. Sometimes it's very few and it's just to-dos. But this is kind of what I really need to be in my catch-all planner to help me function. Now, the other thing I really want to add into my catch-all planning system is I definitely want a snapshot of what I did. So to me, all of this stuff is like what I'm going to do, but I also want a snapshot of what I actually did because that could be completely different from what I'm going to do. I'll kind of explain that in a minute as I start going through some things, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. So this is what we call like my memory keeping type thing, but it's literally just going to be bullet points and sloppily writing stuff down, but I definitely want to start doing that. I also want to up my game with my catch-all. I definitely want to incorporate all areas of my other planning systems into my catch-all, so everything is truly in one place. That means even parts of my social media, even if that's a separate system, I still want to keep some of the most important stuff in my catch-all, just so I can see that complete picture, just for planning purposes, not even just for memory keeping. That really isn't memory keeping part, but that's more for planning purposes. So with that said, when I talk about my needs, I need a lot of space, a lot of space, because that's a lot, right? And some days are not going to be as abundant as others. You know, there's not going to be as many to-dos on certain days. My weekends, I do not write a lot of to-dos on my weekends. I just kind of do whatever I feel like doing. Sometimes I just want to rest. So I don't like to like stress myself out with like weekend to-dos. So my weekends are pretty bare. But when it comes to needs, like I said, I need a lot of space. And I'm going to break this down with, I need weekly task and daily task. So like, that's why I need a lot of space. However, I can do this by how I'm doing it now, which is I have a daily planner and a weekly planner that I'm currently using. So I'm still kind of thinking that I like having a 2-planner catch-all system. I think it works well. Some people might think that's crazy, but like I said, this does not have a weekly overview. I really do like the weekly overview. I think it helps to kind of see everything in one place. And then this kind of helps with the breaking it down of things, as well as kind of helping me memory keep, because I obviously can't put everything in here. So this is where this can kind of fill in any of the gaps. So I really do find it essential, at least for me, to have the 2 planning systems. Plus I need a lot of space because I don't just write the tasks. I like brain dump everything. I know that I'm not going to get to all of that on Monday, but I like to brain dump it all on Monday. So then whatever I don't get done, I can move to Tuesday, or else I'm just going to forget about it. So I do need all of that on there. So with that said, obviously for this, now I need a weekly overview. So because I need a place for weekly tasks, I really do need a weekly overview as well. And then along those same lines, a daily pages without structure. That's key for me. Some daily planners are so structured that you don't have room to kind of make it your own. And I'm really enjoying in my current system, I'm not doing anything extravagant. I'm just writing my to-dos down. But I still like the ability to make it my own, be a little creative and things like that. Instead of just having a whole bunch of spaces, I have a whole bunch of like headers and things like that. That just really stresses me out sometimes. So for this particular planner, I really like to have it without structure. Now, the other thing I do need is I need at least one monthly calendar. Actually, I only need one monthly calendar. Because truth be told, I have two because I have two planners and I really only use one. So I really only need one monthly calendar, but we'll put it on there. Then we're going to come to the wants. And some of these wants used to be needs. And I'm kind of realizing they aren't as essential when it comes to needs. They are more like, they kind of get me kind of closer to planner peace if they're there, but I can kind of figure out how to do without it. Does that make sense? So when it comes to wants, one thing that I used to think was a want was hours on the daily. I don't really think it's essential. I do like having it there. I think it does help me to some extent, even though I said I kind of want to get into doing a snapshot of what I did in my daily planner. I still want to keep track of things that happen at certain hours too, plus like to-dos and meetings and stuff like that. I do like having that on the hourly because it does help me still visualize things as I'm in that planner that day. So I do like the hours on the daily. Again, it's becoming a non-essential, but it's something I really, really like. The other thing is I like it now to be a bound book. I don't know why, but my preference has now gone to bound books for a lot of my planners. And this is one of them. I just like the way it is. I feel like it takes up a little bit less space or like real estate on my desk. And because I keep my catch-all planners on my actual work desk, so like as I'm working throughout the day, I like to refer to them. I just like them to take up the least amount of space as possible. And I feel like a bound book gives me that. Now, of course, you can buy a letter size bound book and it's going to take up even more space. But for the most part, the ones I'm talking about don't take up as much space. So I do prefer like junior or smaller, but I'm okay with like a classic. I don't like letter size at all. But other than that, I can deal with. But again, these are just preferences. And then I'm going to say my other want is for my daily. It might be for my weekly at some point, but right now it's just for my daily. I want some good paper, y'all. I am like 100% a paper snob because I like to stamp. I like to like put like stencils and ink on my paper. And I just find that like high quality, high pounds, high GSM works so much better. My hemlock and oak has been working great. It's like 120 GSM. So it's really good quality paper. It works perfection. Happy Planner, not so much. Tomoe River paper, I don't use fountain pens, so not so much there either. But I really just like some good thick paper. It doesn't have to be too thick, but like I said, I do like it to be probably like, closer to the 100 GSM if I can. But I think that's where I'm going to stop. I could probably go on and on, but I really need to like rein that in if I want to use items that are already in my stockpile. So with that said, I think I'm going to start kind of talking through some of my daily options. And there aren't many. I mean, there are many out there, but if I don't want to spend any more money, I don't have many off to the side. I think these are my daily options. Full transparency. A lot of these I have multiples of, so I have a lot more than you see here. Let's first talk about the hemlock and oak beans. I'm currently using it, and I don't really need to talk about it that much. I do have a 2025 dated planner because, like I said, your girl likes to purchase planners when they're on clearance. And when you do that, usually you're going to be getting one that is already dated and is dated for a prior year. or for the current year that you're purchasing it in. So yeah, this is a 2025. I don't mind redating. I find that it takes just as much work as it would for an undated. So I'm okay with that. And I also have an undated. Now with the hemlock and oak, the undated is only 6 months. I did purchase 2 because your girl's not just going to buy a 6-month. We got to buy for the whole year. There are some differences about this planner. Because the entire year is in this one book, there are not many extra pages. There's only a few pages in the front, and they're just kind of your regular planner intro pages that come pretty much in most planners, kind of like your annual overview pages. That's all you get in this one, right? That's it. You get one little blank page, and then you can cover some others to make more. In the undated, because it's only 6 months in here, there's more room to play. You get a lot of stuff that is like, personal values, goal setting, habits. There's something in here about like routine setting and things like of that nature. So it's really kind of about like setting you up for success type things. There are also monthly overviews. Now, because this is a 6-month planner, you're going to have 6 monthly overviews, and you're also going to have 6 monthly reviews. So again, these are all things that are not in this planner. So it is something I have to think about as far as a catch-all, because like I said, I don't want to be overwhelmed when it comes with planners. So if I can like combine some of, the ones that are on this list together, that would be okay with me. Okay. It really would. Like I wouldn't be heartbroken if I could like combine some of these together and then not have like 6 separate planners. We'll see. But I don't know if that's going to happen. But again, I'm currently using a hemlock and oak daily right now. I'm using an outdated one now. It's fine. I really enjoy it. I would say my one hesitation is because I'm using it now. Am I going to start to get bored with it at some point next year? Not because it's like not a good planner, because it's a great planner and it's pretty much a clean slate. I mean, even though you have hours here, it's pretty much a blank page. There's not much on here. So you can do whatever you want, but still, sometimes you just want something new. So that does worry me just a little bit. Yeah, so I'm going to put these in right now. Now, right now, I'm not going to think about how I can combine them. I'll start thinking about that when I get to some other planners. But right now, those are definitely up there just because I'm already using it. It works. It's just my hesitation is, do I need a break? Do I need to try something else for like a year and then bring that back in like 2027 just so that way it's new and fresh again? I don't know. I do get bored so easily. I also have this. This is a Passion Planner Daily. This is a 3-month planner. I also stocked up on these. I have a bunch of them. But y'all, I'm not mad because I paid $3.14 for these on Pi Day, which is March 14th. Fingers crossed they're still able to have a huge Pi Day sale in 2026. I know the economy and everything like that might make it hard to like reduce planners that much. But that was a good deal. And I have quite a few planners in my stockpile of this. Now, I'm currently using this for my health planner, and it works great. So it's very hard for me to even think about this as a catch-all planner. But if I look at all of this, it really meets the needs of a daily catch-all planner. It really does. You have the hours. It's bound. It's definitely small. It's an A5. It has a whole blank page over here. So even though it's super structured over here, it has a whole blank page over here. So that's fine. It's great. I can like write about my day over here or write any overflow stuff over here and then have all my plans over here. So it's like actually a really good planner for a catch-all. I will say, if I use this for a health planner, I will not use it as a catch-all. I cannot use the same planner for 2 different purposes. Talk about getting bored fast. I would get bored fast. All right, so I'm going to put Passion Planner here. And then the last planner is a brand because I have multiple variations of this on my shelf. These are 6-month planners. I do have another bound version of this because, I had to get 2 to make it a full year. I also have disc bound version and a coil version. Coil version may be destashed because as I'm trying to go smaller, those coils are so big and clunky that I'm not sure that I would use it. I think I would like to use it, but then it would just get pushed back when others come, you know, when I buy new planners or whatever. So I might end up destashing the coiled ones. Those are dated, so they're out of date. But I think I would keep this one and the disc one. Because who knows what I would use it for in the future, but I think I would use it in the future. However, I don't know if I'm going to use it for 2026. I don't think this will work for a catch-all because of a couple of things. This is very structured. I use this for a catch-all and it worked fine, but I don't know if it's going to work fine for what I plan to do with my daily planner, like the whole memory keeping aspect I want to add to it. I don't know if this is enough. I think it's too structured for that, so I don't have enough free space. I do have this, but on the weekends I have nothing. And I don't like how they split the weekends. I wish Saturday had its own page, just like Sunday. Saturday and Sunday both have their own pages. I don't like them sharing a page. So I don't think I'm going to use this for my catch-all. I did not pull the disc bound or the coil one that I have like this because the layouts are essentially the same. But it's a nice planner, and this is a classic size, but you can kind of see because it's bound, it doesn't look as big as like a classic size on disc or even coiled. It's just, I don't know. It just looks very, obviously the disc and the coils add to the actual size. If it's 7x9, it's actually larger than that because of the coils. But yeah, I like bound because of that. This is large, but it doesn't look that large. I'm not going to add it to my list because like I said, I don't think it's going to be an option just because right now I think these three are better options than that. So with that said, now I'm going to look at my weekly options. I'm going to try to go through these quickly. And again, I have a lot more on my shelf. I might mention some of the ones on my shelves that could possibly be options, but I'm not bringing them all out. I'm trying to bring the planners out that you guys might not be as familiar with, like the happy planners and stuff like that. I'm not bringing out. Everybody kind of knows what happy planner layouts look like, or most people know. So I'm not going to bring those out, but I am going to bring some other ones out. So here we go. Let's actually start with this one because this is identical to the one that I'm using now. It's just the bigger version. So obviously if this is working now, the bigger version would work. Plus it would probably work a little bit better because even though these are still tiny, they're nowhere near as tiny as the ones now. And I have fairly large handwriting. I don't have gigantic handwriting, but it's tough for me to fit them in those lines. But this, so you get more space in here. So this obviously would work. Like I said, if this works for now, then this should work. Now looking at this planner a little bit more in depth, this planner I also got for $3.14. That's why I have it. So this planner is interesting. I just got passion planners for the first time during my Pi Day sale, or during the Pi Day sale, not my Pi Day sale, the Pi Day sale. So I wasn't really familiar with everything they had. The daily planner actually has like a goal. What is it called? Hold up. It's set up differently. Here it is. So these are the 2 pages that are prior to the month in the daily. So you have a check-in, which is for the previous month. So you would do a self-check-in about this month, and then your month's game changer goal. So like you set up one goal for the month. This doesn't have that. It just has reflections. So it's very interesting how they're different with that. This is more like reflective based. That one's got a little bit more goal based. Very interesting. But like I said, other than that, I'm already using a version of that and it works fine. So we got to put it for the options, right? And that is the last Passion Planner Weekly I have. I didn't go crazy there. This one, I'm not sure that this would actually work. Maybe it would. I'm not, like I said, I don't know. This is a Cora Korea Crafts planner. It is rings. I've never actually successfully used a ring planner. I just find that the rings get in the way. Even though I'm right-handed, they still bother me. Plus, I don't know. There's just something about the rings. I don't know. They're not really that much different than disc. You can still slip the pages and pull them off as disc, but for some reason, I just haven't gotten there yet. This is a horizontal. I actually like the horizontal layout, but considering everything that I really do want to capture and how I really want to use my weekly to capture every little thing in my life that needs to be planned, just looking at this, I'm not sure that it has enough room. Mainly because it has no room for my like tasks. Like, where would I put my tasks? I feel like I would always have to add an extra sheet, like a half sheet or a whole sheet or something to write my task list. And I think that would be the problem with this one. It's really cute. I think this is really cute. This like cover is everything because I love to travel. So the map is just screaming like travel vibes to me. But I just feel like that planner in particular could not work as a catch-all. Again, we might revisit these for some of the other planning systems, but right now it's not going to work as a catch-all. So I'm not going to write it on there. Now we're going to look at this one. I actually forgot about this one. That's why it's really important to like do inventories of your like planners and planning supplies, because it's amazing how much you forget. This is an Erin Condren weekly planner. Although I consider it a notebook because like there's no tabs or anything or dividers. This one, there is no monthly calendar. So you just get this weekly over here, which again is very small for what I think I'm going to need it for. However, you do get 5 sheets of paper following it. So that kind of makes up for it. And now it wouldn't be like a whole picture though. Like I wouldn't be able to just keep this open and maybe, I mean, I might be able to a lot of weeks get like a snapshot of my week. But if it was a super busy week, then I would still have to flip the page. It could work. It could work. So I am going to put that on here because I think it could work. I think I need to think on it more because it seems like I might not be able to fit everything like here. I don't know. Then we have these. I actually have another one of these too. Actually, it's right above me. It's on a shelf. So these are hemlock and oaks, right? Obviously, like I said, I like a good sale. Not only do I like a good sale, but I hate paying for shipping. So I just add a whole bunch of stuff to get that free shipping threshold. That's why I have a lot of hemlock and oaks at the moment. This is a horizontal. This again is a 2025. This is a really cool layout. I mean, it's not like groundbreaking, but I like this layout. I like the horizontal over here, and then you have your blank page over here. Again, no structure, so you can do whatever you want. I am not going to put this as an option, even though this seems like this would work pretty good, because I think I'm going to be using this as one of my memory keepers. So I'm pretty set on that, I think. So you guys are kind of getting a sneak peek at probably one of the planners that I'm going to add to my lineup. Again, we have 4 months left, so things can change. But right now, I'm thinking that this would be a really good memory keeper, journaling like every day memory keeper, because you just have a little bit of space, and that's all I want. And then you have a big space to kind of write about the week. It's not intimidating. So yeah, I think this one is going to be a memory keeper. So I'm actually going to put this on the shelf because we don't need to talk about it anymore. These two are both vertical weekly planners. This is an undated. This is a 2025. This is the regular hemlock and oak size, which is kind of like, I think it's like a junior size because it's bigger than an A5, but I think it's junior. It's not that much bigger than an A5, but I think this is a junior or just shorter, just smaller than a junior. This is a B5. This is also a minimalist. So there are pages before and after each month. You have a review page and then you have an overview page, but you don't have any of those like goal setting, reflection type pages at the very beginning. So you just have the monthly reflections and the overview pages in there. This one has all of that stuff at the beginning. So like the goal setting, the habits and things like that are all in the beginning. Plus, because this is an undated planner, everything is batched together. So like your overviews are all batched together, your reviews are batched together, and then your calendars are batched together. So I think this is an option because I obviously have more space than the Passion Planner just because of the grid size versus the lines. But here's the difference between the junior size or the Hemlock and Oak standard size and the B5. It's not, the grids I think are the same exact size, but I think the columns may be a little bit wider, and then you get a lot more space down here. So out of all the planners that I've looked at thus far, if I wanted to add some social media stuff to it, this would be the option, I think, because it has more space. Like the plum paper had like some like task stuff over here, but this I can kind of play around a little bit to kind of add everything I want to a weekly overview. But this one, if I want to add goal setting, this one might be the better option because it has all of those kind of annual kind of brainstorming pages, and then you have your monthly review and overview pages too, which you can kind of turn into goal setting. They're not technically goal setting. You can kind of see like memorable moments this month, what gave you energy, a lesson or growth from this month, but you can turn these into goal setting just because they're blank pages. So you can kind of use them as blank pages. But I feel like some of this stuff, except for the memories, are kind of like get you in that goal setting kind of mindset, and you did set goals up here. So I mean, this is an option. It's very limited goal setting, so I don't really know if I can say that, but it's an option. I'm going to put them both here. All right, I think that's it for my show and tell. I do have a Happy Planner dashboard. I do have a Happy Planner horizontal. I also have Live Love Posh horizontal. But I don't think those would work. I don't think the Happy Planner horizontal will work. Again, I like a whole brain dump area. Of course, with the disc, you can insert stuff, but I really don't want to do that. The dashboard, I used a Kelva Plan dashboard for the first half of the year, and it was fine, but like thinking about how I want to kind of upgrade what I use my catch-all for, it might not be fine just because the dashboard planners have smaller. Do I have my Kelva Plan over here? I do not. Let me grab the dashboard. So like I have all the space here that I would need to brains up my weekly to-dos, but I don't have a lot of space for the actual daily kind of like figuring it out for the day. I don't know if that's going to be a problem, but like I said, because I want to really expand on how I use my weekly planner, in my brain, it seems like it might be a problem. But this one, I guess I should probably put it on here so I don't forget about it, because I might try a planner at the beginning of the year, but because I have so many planners kind of just waiting on my shelf, if something's not working, I can just switch it out to something else, and then I'll refer to this to kind of, you know, kind of help me figure out what I could switch it out to. So I'm going to put the HP dashboard. Okay, now I'm going to go to, let's do social media. I feel like I'm going to struggle with this one. And I know, you know, this one is a planner that everybody can't relate to. They're not going to everybody's not going to have a social media planner, but think of it in terms of if you have a separate work planner. Like I combine my work with my catch-all, but if you have a separate work planner, it's going to kind of serve a similar function as my social media planner. Or if you have an extracurricular planner for like hobbies or something that you have, that could be similar as well. So I'm going to quickly jot down what I use it for. I figure you guys could care less, but it's more for just planning my content, kind of reminding myself when there are like new releases and stuff for the companies that I PR for and things of that nature. All right, so I am currently using something that has been working so well. This is something that I got from Go Wild. I would have never thought about using something like this prior to this. This is by Amanda Rach Lee. Her brand is ARL, you know, her initials. Amanda Rach Lee, if you don't know, she's like huge on YouTube. She's like bullet journaler, now she does junk journaling and stuff like that on there. So she did this doodle planner, which is basically a bullet journal that she created, and you don't have to worry about it. It has doodles. This one has these blank pages. This planner has really kind of led me to what I'm going to put for my wants and needs, because I've really realized that things really work because of things in this planner. I love the blank pages, and then we have the weeks. There are actually 6 weeks in here, so I use one of the weeks to kind of like brainstorm for the month by categories. It's great. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and put that aside. So you're probably like, well, if that works so well, why don't you just buy another one? Again, I'm really trying to use what I have. Maybe one day I will buy it again. But like I said, I really want to use my stash. So what do I need? I need a monthly calendar. I have to have that. I need blank pages within the month. I think I could get away with 2 to 4. I think I can do like about 4. I think I'm leaning toward 4, but I think that's all I need. I shouldn't need more than that. And I definitely have learned this year that I need a weekly overview. I did kind of experiment with not having a weekly overview and using more of a planner for like notes and stuff like that. That did not work. Okay. My wants. 2 monthly calendars. I think that's it. In all honesty, I don't have as much of a preference when it comes to this, but there are, like I said, there are some things that I feel like I have to stay organized. With this, the blank pages are more for my brain dumps and things of that nature, which if you have like a YouTube channel, or you even just post on like Instagram or anything like that regularly, sometimes you do need to like brain dump the stuff. And that's like something that I find is crucial. Now, when I talk about options, I was just talking about how great the Amanda Rach Lee planner is. Could I create my own? I don't know. I mean, yes, I could. However, remember when I was talking about like, I really want to like memory plan next year or memory keep next year, like in 1 or 2 or 3 different ways. And I don't want to become overwhelmed. So I definitely need to make sure that I'm not going over capacity when it comes to my planners. I want to not over plan, or be forced to do too many setups. And a bullet journal, you have to set it up. I mean, even if you don't decorate it, which of course I'm going to decorate it, but if you don't decorate it, you still got to set it up. You got to draw out the calendar. You got to draw out the weeks or whatever like that. So there's that. But like I said, it's going to be a big, I mean, because I'm going to write right here so I don't forget about it. The issue is the time to set up. That's the issue. Now, when I think about the planners that I could use for this, obviously the Happy Planner dashboard would work. So many content creators use that. It works fine. I've actually used it before. It's worked fine. And then I actually think that horizontal rings planner that I said would not work for my catch-all could potentially work for this, because like the dashboard, while it doesn't have a place for me to do lists or anything like that, it does have a spot for blank pages. So I can just add the blank pages to the end of the month, which is where they're going to be in most planners anyway. So there we go, unless I do my own bujo and I put it wherever I want. So I do think it could potentially work for my for my social media. And that was in the running to actually become my social media planner for the second half of this year. And then I remembered about this one, and I'm so glad I gave this one a try because I absolutely love it. With that said, something that just popped into my mind. Could I cut down on the setup time of a bullet journal by using a bullet journal for more of the monthly and like brainstorming setup, and then do a very brief weekly, like not actually set it up for the week, but just use like 2 pages and write like week 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then jot down things for that week, and then transfer that in more detail to a catch-all. I keep throwing this up because this is what I'm currently using as catch-all, so that's but could I do that in my weekly catch-all? So like my weekly catch-all would include the social media part. Remember when I showed you the B5 hemlock and oak, I said if I use that for my catch-all, I could use the bottom portion for social media. Not necessarily a separate, just extending the column. So like the time ends here, but I could just extend the column. So Thursday, I would just put bullet points here, and then that would be my Thursday like social media task or social media reminders. That would definitely cut down on that, because that would eliminate 4 setups for that month, because I would have to do 4 weekly setups, sometimes 5. So maybe I could do that. Let's do this. So could I do weekly planning in catch-all and monthly plus brainstorm in a bujo? Because what I would do is I would still visit that bujo at least once a week, because that bullet journal would sit out here when I'm setting up my weekly catch-all. So that could actually work. I mean, that is, I don't really say that that's like using 2 planners for social media. It's just cutting down on what I capture in my bullet journal and just putting that in my catch-all. It's not eliminating a planner though, because I'll still have a bullet journal. But I do think, the weeklies can be time consuming. And then with the bullet journal, I can have 2 calendars, blank pages, which would require hardly no setup, and unless I want to like create like a chart or something for like my video checklist. That could work. Just saying that out loud, and I just thought of it. That's why this brainstorming thing is great. All right, I think that's it. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I'm liking this idea, but we're only 2 planners in, and if I become overwhelmed, then that idea is going to, I won't be able to do it. I'll have to keep it simple. That's still a little complicated. Bullet journals, I've never actually bullet journaled a planner. No, I take that back. I did try for a couple of months to bullet journal my health and wellness, which is what we're going to talk about now. But I did that as a daily, and that was overwhelming. That was like creating 7 spreads a week. I mean, that's like 31 plus your monthly spread a month. Oh my goodness. Would never do that again. All right, my health planner. I'm just going to tell you, and I'm going to write what I track here. I'm writing what I track for my personal like reflection when I go back to this. But I track everything. So I track a lot of health data, daily health data, all of my workout metrics. So like weight sizes, any type of cardio metrics. If I use a machine, what came up for my like, output or whatever, stats type thing, Apple Watch stats, what I eat, everything like that. So it's a lot of stuff. I am currently using the Passion Planner Daily. Remember that 2-page daily? I do decorate this side, but I also use it for overflow as well as health journaling, and I do fill it up. So it's not too big. But I'm going to go ahead and write down what I use my health journal for real quick. Okay, now I don't think I'm going to be changing how I utilize this planner. Well, I can't say that for sure. Actually, how I use it could change based on whatever I find out from the doctor. If I go to the doctor and she wants me to do X, Y, Z, then I'm going to probably incorporate that into my health planner. So I might start tracking additional things. So it could probably increase what I'm tracking could increase temporarily based on what's going on with my body. But I don't think I'm going to decrease anything. Right now, I said food log. I would like to eventually track macros, but we're not going to go there. But like I said, things could increase. So I definitely need, with that said, my needs. I'm going to say a lot of space on the daily pages. So I definitely need a daily, but I need one with a lot of space. So again, I need one with not as much structure. But with that said, this has a lot of structure that I ignore, but it has this blank page that really does help with the structure. And I will say these hours are perfection for my health. I do really like them. I'm going to call it a want and not a need, but it's a good thing. So another thing I think I need, or I know I need, is I need something that is compact. Now, the definition of compact is probably not what most people think of. I'm not thinking about pocket or personal. I'm still thinking A5. Maybe junior, but more A5. That's what I'm using now. I really like it because even though I work out at home and I don't actually take this planner outside of the house, I do move it from room to room. So I do need it to be small and not bulky. So yeah, that is very important to me. I also want blank pages for goals. If the pages are not within the month, I need to have enough pages at the back to account for however many months is in that planner. And I usually need about 2 pages. So like a 2-page spread. And then we're going to call this a want. I want space for pre-planning. I don't really have that now. I'm thinking about incorporating that into my calendar, but that's going to really fill up my calendar. But I only pre-plan my workouts on here. My meal planning and stuff like that goes on my on-the-go planner, which we really didn't cover, but I think that's set. That's why I'm not covering that. I think I'm going to just use a week's size notebook for that. But I do track my meal. I do plan my meals in that because I can write my grocery list. But for workouts, I would like to pre-plan my workouts. Just because I do my own exercise programs, I kind of want to pick what workouts I want to do that week and have them in my workout, in my fitness planner to refer to when I go to do a workout. Right now, like I said, that's hard to find the space, but we'll see. And then, like I said, I do like the hours on the page. Again, not necessarily essential. I could do without. I can just add the hour in parentheses, but I really do like it. So with that said, we've already talked about the options. There really are only 2, and that is the same planner I'm using now, which is the Passion Planner Daily. And I would say the Hemlock and Oak Undated Daily, not the dated one, but the undated daily, because you did have those like looking ahead, like overview pages and review pages that I could turn into goals pages. And I could probably even turn one of those into pre-planning the workouts. I could just have to write small, maybe like divide it into quarters and do week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. So I could make that work. But like I said, if I want to stick to the Hemlock and Oak as a daily planner, then I'm not going to use it as a fitness planner. I can't use the same planner for 2 different purposes. And I'm not sure if I want to make the switch now. So we'll see, but that's all I really have right now. I will say the Erin Condren Daily Duo did not work, too big. The Go Getter Girl did not work, too big. Plus the Saturday and Sunday split did not work, which is kind of what led me to needing something compact and needing like a lot of space on the daily page. That's why I did that one toward the end, because I knew that one was fast. Now we're going to talk a little bit about goals. I'm currently using a bullet journal. It's not going well. However, you know, the bullet journal does allow me flexibility to like add a whole bunch of stuff if I want, for like weekly reflections, which I don't do. Monthly reflections, which I do sometimes do, and then quarterly reflections, as well as setting up goals for the month and the quarter. But I don't think I want to keep that going through 2026 because, again, setup. Not that it takes a lot of time, but when you have to add another thing to set up at the beginning of the month, it just starts adding up, and you don't want to spend 8 hours setting up all your planners for the month ahead. You still want to enjoy the setup process and not have it become a burden. So that's why I don't think I want to do that this year. Coming up, maybe once I get a handle on things, it'll come back. But right now, I don't think so. Now, I don't know what my needs or wants are, so I'm just going to add things that I would like to see in a planner. So I guess all of these are wants. I don't really have needs. So when it comes to a want, I think I want something that kind of encourages weekly, daily, oh no, not daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly reflections. Like I said, I have not been doing weekly at all. I feel like that's kind of crucial just as part of like evaluating whether the goal is even something that you should be working on right now, or whether you need to push it off to the side, which is, you know, highly possible during certain times. You really need to keep up with the reflections, and I have not been. Like I said, I have not done any weekly reflections this year. I've done some monthly, and I've been okay with the quarterly, but that's like 3 times so far, so it's not that much. I also think what would like lead me to use a goals planner, or not really use it, but check in with it more frequently, is if it was incorporated into an existing planning system. Nothing is existing right now because I'm going to be starting fresh, right? But I'm talking about like we have all my main planners, my catch-all, my weekly, my daily catch-all. So, and then we have my fitness and wellness, and we have my social media. So can any type of goals or any of the planners that I'm going to choose for that have like goals pages or blank pages that I can add goals to? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what I mean by that. I feel like I can work with a standalone. I've always used it as a standalone, but I don't know if that is why I've fallen off. So I don't know. So we'll have to see. I think this one's very hard because, as you saw in the planners that I've showed you, they don't really have an in-depth type, you know, questions when it comes to goals. They're very like, what is your like annual goals? But then monthly, it's kind of just focusing on different things. So I'm not sure. Now, when it comes to planners I haven't shown, I do have a Moxie Life. I've had this for a few years now and have yet to use it because I've been kind of doing my own thing. Because the system, the goal setting system that Moxie Life uses, while I like the process of it, I just don't want to do 8 categories like monthly, let alone quarterly. So I just been kind of doing my own thing. But I feel like I need to look at this as a planner and see if this planner can be used for anything else. So we have the calendar, check. We have a horizontal. It looks like it could be super functional though. I know like the horizontal sometimes appears to like not have as much room as a vertical, but it's there. I definitely don't have notes. I mean, this is pretty much, you can just, I mean, there's not enough room for anything for like your weekly to-dos or anything. It does have this habit tracker here, which just thinking about social media, I do like a YouTube checklist where I write the videos and then check off like each thing I have to do in order to get it like published on YouTube. So I could just change this and put like the icons that I use for my video checklist. So that's there. I don't think this would be as effective as a catch-all compared to some of the other ones I showed earlier in the video. I don't know if this could work as a social media though, because there are no blank pages within the month. There are pages in the back, but it's not a lot. There's 10. So it's a 6-month planner. There's 10 blank pages in the back. It would have to be front and back, so I couldn't do a cute 2-page spread. I could for a few months. But, yeah, so this would be a little bit of a struggle, I think, to use in combination with a planning system, at least as I currently see it. As I'm currently visualizing how I would use a social media planner, I just feel like this might not be enough space because that brain dump is crucial. Unless I didn't do my weekly reflections, which I said I want to do, then I could do it there, but that's not a good thing. Yeah, so right now, if I were to use this for goals, it would be a standalone. And And I'm not sure. That kind of scares me a little bit. But I could play with it. I could try it. If it fails, I haven't been using it anyway. It's been sitting on my shelf for at least 2 years, if not longer than that. I didn't pay that much for it. I think I got it from a resale group for like 20 bucks shipped. So it's not like I paid as much as you would on the website. The other thing I could do if I do it as a standalone, I could use this to practice like hand lettering. At one point last year, I was trying to do like hand lettering in another language so I can practice like my Spanish and my hand lettering. So I could do that so that way these pages don't go to waste. So that is definitely an option. Or I could just use this as needed for like whatever other thing I need to like plan temporarily. So I could do that. So I don't know. We'll have to see. I just don't really want to add a separate planner for goals. But looking at my options, I don't really see where I can add it to any of these. So yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Something to think about. The whole point of this video was not to make decisions today. It was to kind of focus in on what I really need and want out of a planner. And then trying to see if I have anything that currently can meet those needs or wants, so I don't actually buy any more planners. So I really don't want to go buy anything. So I don't want to buy a brand new social media planner just so I can have room to do my overall goals in it. If I have to add another planner, it's fine. I won't decorate it. I won't set it up. I will just do the goal planning and that'll be it. So yeah, but like I said, I have some time. I would like to hone in on a lineup by like mid to end of November. Just so that way I can kind of start having fun in December and like setting them up and things like that. So I'm going to try to stick to that. We'll see. Obviously, I will do a video. I might do another video where we kind of go through my journals because I have a lot of journals. I also bought a lot not that long ago from Archer and Olive. So I have a lot of journals and maybe we can talk about some of these fun projects and which ones I can use for those projects. I don't know. Let me know if that's something you guys would want to see. All right, guys, that's it. Finally, right? Like I said, this was a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Maybe it kind of sparked some kind of thoughts in your head about what planners you may want to use for 2026, whether or not it's something in your stash or whether or not it's something you have to go out and purchase. It can be a little bit stressful and there's just a lot. There's a lot of options out there, and brainstorming, while it can be fun, sometimes can be overwhelming as well. So maybe just kind of listening through my process have kind of maybe helped ease that burden a little bit for you. At least that's my hope. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really, really do appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like button. And if you have yet to subscribe, I hope you would also consider subscribing to my channel and hit that notification bell, because as we get closer to the end of the year, all of my setup videos, my lineup videos, and all that fun stuff will start to roll out. All right, guys. Thank you so much again for watching this video, and I hope you have a good rest of your day, evening, or night. Until next time, bye.